This is the future.
Sickening Pulse in the new Helminth ability, which you can obtain by ranking your Helminth system to 14. By the way, in case you are wondering how I ranked my Helminth so fast, without wasting any resources subsuming warframes and feeding my gluttonous munch boy, then it's simply doing invigoration every week. I have posted a link at the pinned comment below about Helminth invigoration and why you should use it. You can check out that video after watching this. So anyway, the Sickening Pulse is a Helminth ability that allows you to emit a pulse that adds stacks to status effects already afflicting enemies. The ability scales with energy efficiency, range, and duration mods. The pulse works like Pillage, Fire Blast, and even Nova's Molecular Prime. It starts in a small area, then widens as it travels until it reaches its maximum range. The one thing I still don't get with the ability is it needs enough duration to reach the maximum range. So basically, no matter how wide the range you have in your build, but if you have low duration, the ability still won't reach enemies that are closer to the maximum range of the ability. Elevation and obstacles seem to also affect the ability. When you are behind an obstacle, or somehow enemies are elevated, the Sickening Pulse ability can't debuff the enemies. It's best used in open areas, or, if you can, then you can use a grouping ability like Ensnare. There's Enurix Void Singularity, or the Magus Anomaly Arcane for Operator that group enemies in one place. I did a couple of experiments with this ability, and ended up bumping into something really interesting. First, you might say that this ability is definitely built for Saryn. Sickening Pulse will be the catalyst to hasten the process of having 10 stacks of viral and corrosive to kill enemies. However, it's not as beneficial for Saryn as you think. 10 stacks of corrosive reduces armor of enemies by 80%, and in case you didn't know, the spores of Saryn does spread corrosive rapidly that it will achieve 10 stacks in a matter of seconds. If Sickening Pulse could somehow bypass 10 stack, and give the corrosive stack more to do a 100% armor strip to enemies, then it would be awesome. But it doesn't work that way. The same goes with viral, radiation, and also magnetic. Honestly, it's a good tool for increasing the stack of those elements, which gives out a huge debuff to enemies at 10 stacks, but not necessary since we can achieve 10 stacks without even using Sickening Pulse. I tested this also with Frost, and somehow, it makes avalanche in terms of crowd control. In case you didn't know, cold procs at 10 stacks will slow down enemies by 70% for 6 seconds. By casting Avalanche then Sickening Pulse, you can gain nice armor if you have the Frost Augment, plus slow down enemies, strip armor, and the same process until they break like ice. But the best way to utilize Sickening Pulse right now, but probably the weirdest part, is making it a catalyst for damage over time effects. More specifically, using it with heat. I have tried Oxen and Slash, but it doesn't work similarly to heat. Unlike these elements, heat increases its damage over time when you cast the Sickening Pulse Helminth ability. Do remember that heat has this mechanic wherein it refreshes its duration when you inflict another heat proc in a target. And it seems that heat is busted because of this when paired with Sickening Pulse. It looks like every heat damage from any source will count as first stack, and every stack refreshes the duration of the heat damage over time inflicted to the target. And then, when you cast Sickening Pulse to that target with heat proc, it seems to be counted as the damage over time also from the main source of your heat damage. Long story short, the heat proc from Sickening Pulse will be inherited to the heat damage over time of the primary source, increasing its DOT every time you cast the Helminth ability. Simply put it this way, every time we cast Sickening Pulse to enemy affected by heat, the enemy receive more damage over time, starting from 2 times, then 4 times, 8 times, and so on and so forth. Yes, the heat damage becomes infinite damage scaling as the more you cast Sickening Pulse, the longer the heat status stays in a target and the more damage over time it receives compared to the usual heat damage when not using the Sickening Pulse ability. A good example for demonstration is Ember. Okay, I have already explained it in words. So now, let me give you a short demonstration of what I meant when I say that Sickening Pulse is busted with the heat element right now. By the way, if you want to check out the Ember build I'm using on this video, then simply stay for a couple of minutes as I have included it near the end of this video. Now, I haven't tested it yet, but it could also work with Thermal Sunder, giving 2 benefits in one skill. We are talking about a slowing and nuking ghost build here, and I'm pretty excited to try this one out. Check back later, as I am currently farming more pheromones to finally subsume the Sickening Pulse Helminth ability to my fast boy. For now, Ember is pretty solid with a Sickening Pulse Helminth combo, but you can also use weapons modded with heat to replicate such power. Let me know in the comment section below what are your thoughts about Sickening Pulse, and if you have a question, feel free to ask it below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Squad Leader signing off.
Evolution. This is the future. Evolution. This is the future.